What's up, everyone? Tera Roberts here with Fantasy Alarm, and we are talking free agency deep cuts for Week 14. This is a special week because there are 6 teams on a bye and multiple injuries at quarterback, and everyone making that last-minute playoff push, so I am giving you 2 options at quarterback, one safe and one high upside play. The safe option is Ryan Tannehill. The Titans play the Jaguars, an excellent matchup for opposing quarterbacks. The Jaguars give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. This should be a very safe floor play. The only problem here is that upside could be limited because the Jags are bad on defense across the board. So this could easily be a Derrick Henry bounce back game of 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. So if you're struggling to make the playoffs and need a high upside play, this is not for you. But if you're in a good position and just need a safe option, go with Tannehill. On the other hand, if you need a high ceiling play, grab Tyler Huntley. Huntley has incredible rushing upside and had a minimum of 40 yards on the ground in every game he played last year in relief of Lamar Jackson. And last week was the perfect example of that, where in a difficult matchup against Denver, Huntley had 27 completions on 32 targets for just 187 yards and 1 interception, but added 41 yards on the ground with 1 rushing touchdown. The Ravens face Pittsburgh, and while they're definitely improving on defense, they still have more of an average defensive unit against the pass. We know Huntley is capable of big games, and this could be the week. At running back, there aren't a ton of options with such a huge bye week. And while I do expect D'Onta Foreman to play, it is worth mentioning that Chuba Hubbard is vaulted to an RB2 if Foreman is unable to suit up. And quite frankly, Hubbard is not a bad deep play, because even if Foreman is active, Foreman had 24 carries for 113 yards last week, but Hubbard had 17 carries for 65 yards. The Panthers want to push heavy work on the ground and limit pass volume, and given the matchup against a Seattle defense that allows the 4th most fantasy points to opposing running backs, Hubbard is an interesting play this week. Your second option at running back is super fun. We'll play a game called Pick a Seattle Running Back. DJ Dallas, Travis Homer, or Tony Jones Jr. Only one of these running backs is actually healthy. So if Tony Jones Jr. is the only man available, there you go, grab him. But if literally anyone else is active, Jones is likely the odd man out. You should pick between Dallas and Homer, whichever one is healthy. But what happens if both of them are active? We've actually seen DJ Dallas carry for volume. We haven't seen it often, but I can confirm an 18 carry game for him. And we've seen Homer prioritized in the pass game. So more than likely what will happen is Dallas would see the bulk of the work on the ground, and given the matchup, Carolina struggles on the ground and the likelihood that Seattle should be in control of this game, I think that Dallas will be the better play. At wide receiver, DJ Chark is 30% rostered in Yahoo leagues, which is a little bit higher than I typically include in this video, but given the bye weeks, I will allow it. It is going to take some time for Jameson Williams to get fully acclimated to the NFL. And in the meantime, Chark is operating as the wide receiver 2 and has an excellent matchup against the Minnesota defense that allows the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. You can also go with Corey Davis. He gets the short end of the stick from fantasy managers because everyone wants Elijah Moore to be the 1B to Garrett Wilson. But wants versus reality are 2 very different things. The snap counts don't lie. Corey Davis is the wide receiver 2 in the Jets offense. Davis caught 5 of his 10 targets for 85 yards last week. Buffalo isn't the best matchup in the world, but they have been vulnerable on defense. Davis is a solid low-end flex option. And worst comes to worst, grab Marvin Jones. This is a pure volume play here. The Jags face a Tennessee defense that you just simply don't want to run on. They have been obliterated through the air and are literally the worst matchup for wide receivers. There is one caveat, though. Trevor Lawrence is not practicing, so keep your eye on that. But honestly, sometimes the switch to a QB2 benefits the low man on the totem pole, so I wouldn't completely fade Jones. And at tight end, we are going with Chigoziem Okonkwo. He is slowly making a nice little role for himself in that offense and has an excellent matchup against the Jags. Okonkwo has 2 straight games with 5 targets and is coming off a game of 4 receptions for 68 yards. It's not much, but believe me when I tell you this, 10 fantasy points in PPR is a solid tight end 1. I'm not kidding. So, Someone that is increasing in snap count, seeing targets, and has a good matchup is someone that you want to grab. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to Fantasy Alarm, and come back next week for another round of deep cuts.